Support for Radio Friends comes from Columbia Healthy Smiles, the dental office of husband and wife team Dr. Batson and Dr. Abe, offering comprehensive and customized care to patients of all ages. Learn more by calling 573-721-9039 or online at www.columbiahealthysmiles.com. Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Wednesday, July 13th. Our native plant expert, Nadia Navarrete-Tindall, is with us. Good to have you here, Nadia.
Thank you, Paul. It's always nice to be here.
It's been kind of an unusual year. We've had extremely hot weather and then cool weather and then hot weather. How is that affecting the native plants?
Well, native plants are resilient. They have their own mechanisms for survival, and many of them might look that they are not doing well, but they won't die. And of course depends on if you have the right plants in the right place.
Right.
And it's what I want to talk about. Some of the plants that do really well even with this kind of weather, because as you say, before it was pretty cool and so we're happily growing, and then suddenly the heat, it got so bad for about 10 days.
Yeah.
So plants get resentful for sure, but I brought samples and I have some pictures that we can describe to our listeners about plants that do well in this kind of weather.
In the extreme weather, because they are native. And you were saying, if you plant native in your yard, you don't have to worry so much about watering.
Yeah,
because they're used to it.
And you have to be careful to plant the right plant in the right place.
Okay.
And also, one thing I like to mention is that usually we talk to gardeners, but I want to talk to those people that own land, that they usually mow it, and instead of doing that, try to make a little prairie in the middle of your lawn. That will reduce the cost of watering, mowing, many times fertilizing, and even add pesticides. So for me, lawns don't provide any service to anybody except for maybe somebody who likes to look at green grass, but they're not good for anything, and especially that we use introduced species. So if we create a little garden in the middle of that grass, it would look very pretty. It will help the pollinators, and they won't have to apply so many.
Okay, so what you're saying
resources.
is let a part of your lawn just go. Just let it go. And the native will show up there, or you need to plant them?
Not necessarily. It depends where you are. Like in your case, I know that you have lots of natives.
Oh,
and
my.
We look at them.
And Nadia, the milkweed have been propagating like crazy. They're almost exploding across the land.
Yeah. And
I've got so many beautiful milkweed plants now. The orange ones and the purple ones, and the butterflies are swarming around the milkweed.
Yeah, and we have one where the listeners cannot see it, but this is a white milkweed. It's called whorl, like whirl around.
Okay.
Because the flowers are around the stem. This milkweed is also good for butterflies, for monarch butterfly, for anybody who looks for nectar. They will look for these plants. But this whorl milkweed will grow in very dry conditions, even along roadsides. And you can see, they're really beautiful if you look at them very closely. And we have about 19 species of
19
milkweed.
different species
Yes.
of milkweed?
And so you can have a chance to choose a different milkweed depending on your site, but this one is entirely, it loves sun, dry, and they really thrive along roadsides.
Yeah, well, so does chicory. Now, you say, though, chicory is not native, is it?
Yeah, but it provides a service. The flowers are good for pollinators.
Goodness. The chicory along the roadside, it's almost as if the chicory loves abuse.
Yeah.
Because it will grow out of the asphalt. It will grow along the asphalt.
Yeah, that's right.
And you do nothing to it, and it looks so sturdy and hardy.
Yeah, and it's what I brought you some samples of different plants that these plants that you see in this vase in front of us. They're all growing in our front yard. Some, like we have
You got a coneflower there.
Yeah, we have a purple coneflower.
And that's native, right?
Yeah, it's native. Okay. Naturally grows in woodlands, but it adapts to dry conditions. And you can, by touching the plants, you can tell that they have that mechanism of survival. The leaves are very harsh, so they don't allow too much. They don't lose water that way because
the leaves are hard.
The leaves, they're hard. And we have the yellow flower that you see in the front. That is called oxeye sunflower. Others call it a fall sunflower. It's not a true sunflower, but it's in the sunflower family. And I cut it like 3 days ago. It grows right by the curb in our yard. I haven't watered it.
Did you plant it or did it come up itself?
No, they were all planted. And going back to your question about letting, if you should, a landowner like you might let some area from mowing, and then you see the natives. But in many cases, you need to plant. You need to establish your prairie, native plant prairie, or a prairie garden. And there are experts in our area. And I want to mention also other plants like this prickly pear that you're looking at. This is a cactus.
Yes, the prickly pear. And they grow in very, very dry, hot conditions. Now, I've not seen any in Missouri.
They do grow in Missouri, but you have to look for them. They grow in places like glades, which is almost like a desert in the middle of an open woodland.
Yeah.
And so the soil is very dry, is very poor, but they thrive. Like this particular plant that I'm showing here is loaded with
the prickly pear.
Prickly pears.
We used to buy those and eat them.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of seeds in them, but they taste good.
Yeah.
They're kind of a bittersweet. Have you ever eaten the prickly pears?
Yeah, but this one depend on your source. This one we have used it. It's pretty kind of sweet, and the color is just so vibrant that you can make a little. You can eat it with spreads.
I tell you, we're almost out of time, Nadia. But if people want more information on native plants and gardening, can they contact you at Lincoln University?
Yes, of course, and they can check my Native Plants and More Facebook page.
Okay.
So they know where to find me.
All right, so Native Plants and More or Lincoln University, they can contact you there.
Yes.
All right, Nadia, thank you so much for coming by.
Well, it's
always a
fun.
pleasure to chat with you.
Thank you.
If there's something you'd like to hear or see, I'd love to hear from you. Drop me an email. That's pepperp@missouri.edu.